never happens. All right, so we're back.
We are so excited to have you on the show, Robert.
Thank
personally
you.
I'm looking forward to this. I personally would like to try microdosing. Someone who has suffered from depression and anxiety for a long time. I've heard it's good for that. So I am looking forward to learning and about growth. So
great.
So guess what? We're gonna start to grow weed.
Yes.
This is our new endeavor. We just decided this, that we're gonna become growers also. So we want to know all of your tricks.
Well, I don't know anything about hydroponics or what is it, the synthetics. I know mostly about organics.
Right. So the types of mushrooms you grow, it has psilocybin, right?
No, I don't grow those. I'll forage those in the forest. The ones I grow are like oysters, lion's mane. Right now I'm growing some cordyceps militaris.
Yeah. What is that?
Yeah. So lion's mane has also been used for like depression and anxiety too as well.
I've heard that. I've heard a lot of good things about lion's mane.
And then cordyceps too has been known to like give you a boost in energy. It's like a immune modulator. There's just so much about like I always tell everybody, don't take it from me, do the research and you'll see, all the stuff that's out there,
I did see that there's some that regenerate like neural tissue.
Yeah, that's the lion's mane's been known to do that. The lion's mane.
That's what it was. Lion's mane.
Like
okay.
And then some too, like they're still doing a lot of research on it. Like they just barely started, and we barely just got to the tip right now, and I'm starting to see a lot more research. There's even new mushrooms that are identified a lot, every year. But no, back to the microdosing, like you were saying, there's scientific proof out there that has been known to three things that it really helps is anxiety, depression, and what was the other one? Anxiety, depression, and it helps you to get off like drugs, like alcohol.
That's what I heard.
Oh, really?
So,
it helps you get off drugs.
So somehow it just rewires the mind to where you're like, like addiction is like you want. It's like this need for want, and somehow it rewires your mind to where you don't have that need for it, like that feeling of wanting. You're kind of free from that. You don't even care for it anymore. It's like it left your mind or something,
Well,
that is such a powerful thing that could help so many people. It's kind of strange that they don't research that.
I know, and they don't like put it out there for everybody to use and help them get. There's so many people that could use it for help right now.
Well, they are doing it, but right now it's not like widely advertised. You can pay to go to these researchers. They're called what are they called? They have like the green light to. They're going to create some type of psychology like practice out of it, and it costs almost $1,000. It's like a retreat. You go there, you take the medicine, someone coaches you. It's kind of like they call it like a life coach on it. When you're on the mushroom, like journey coach or whatever. This is all new to me of how they're going about it. The only thing I didn't like about it is that they put you in a room. It's got white walls, lights. You're sitting down on a bed, you put some over your eyes. I didn't like the idea that the room was kind of plain. You should have like a choice of maybe like in the forest or maybe some type of setting. I don't know. I've always liked to be in the jungle. I don't know, not the jungle, but the forest, outdoors.
Yeah, I would
Something about being indoors. So yeah, just better to be outdoors. I don't know. Just feels better, But yeah, I've microdosed for a while, and I mean I haven't for a while lately, because there comes to a point where not everybody needs it all the time, I would say. You know,
Right.
there's some. It just depends. Everybody's different, you know, in life of how they go about, you know, how they
Yeah.
go about self medicating.
You
Kind
know,
of like marijuana is like.
I was seeing on TikTok that they have a coffee that you can buy with the mushrooms in it. I don't know what kind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
they
that
have
you're
that in
right. They're
Canada. I
starting to
think it's legal there.
they're starting to come up with multiple products like coffee that have some chaga, reishi, all this stuff, and also they're making like a healthy, some type of shake mix where you can get the lion's mane, reishi, turkey tail, cordyceps all in one, and that stuff. It's kind of pricey. It's kind of cheaper to grow it yourself, you know, if you know what you're doing.
Is it a
It's
miracle
not easy.
medicine? Like, will it cure? Is it kind of like weed? Weed is like a cure-all. Is it like, are mushrooms like that? Like, not just psilocybin, but the other ones. I'm not just talking about just psilocybin.
Well,
Right.
I remember Paul Stamets gave a speech one time. It was TED Talk. He was talking about where his mother had stage 4 breast cancer, and he cured his mother using various mushrooms, turkey tail being one of the main, and on top of her medicine that they were prescribing her as well. And she didn't have it no more. It's kind of weird how
Wow.
sometimes some type of fungi can cure different types of cancers.
Yeah, definitely. I know it. I mean, I don't think it's weird. Everybody should like, I hope everybody knows that there is a cure for cancer that they're not using.
Well,
So,
I've always thought that cancer is like a fungus in the body in a way. It's kind of like mushrooms, it goes in that category with spores, molds, and fungus, right? Excuse me. But
yeah, I think so. It's
I
because it's
don't.
a growth.
Well, the cancer grows in the body that's like acidic. And it likes like sugar. Someone who takes a lot of sugar. And I noticed that
Right.
there's been proof where people have gotten rid of their cancer just changing their lifestyle.
Mhm.
Just keeping making their body high alkaline rather than acidic. Eating lots of fruits and vegetables. Staying away from meat, other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone that actually cured their cancer, and he was a patient of mine because I worked in hospice before I did what I'm doing now. I worked in hospice for 26 years, and there was one of my patients who was dying from cancer, but had already cured himself 3 times, and he had this whole regimen with like with sodium something, and the alkaline water, and the his
Yeah,
diet
baking
changed.
soda. Because baking soda will make your body more alkaline than acidic.
Yeah,
You know,
he would put it in
actually,
capsules.
baking soda neutralizes acidic, and I've heard baking soda. I mean, there's just variations of ways to cure cancer. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
you could. It's possible and it's happening. And I wish everybody knew that. And I wish everybody would cure their own cancer if they could. Because I hate cancer. I lost my mom to cancer. My dad's had cancer several times. And
Right.
it just sucks.
It does. And especially when there's stuff out there that's natural, like
Yeah.
moringa. My dad grows moringa and he makes
oh,
his
you know, I
own
too.
powder.
I go, yeah. Oh, he makes
You
his
do
own
too?
powder. That stuff
Yeah,
grows
he makes his own.
like an elm tree. It just grows crazy, huh?
Yeah, it does. And like he just gave me a bunch of seeds, so he has several trees, and he makes his own powder and puts it in capsules. And we also just have powder. And I just read after researching all this that moringa is not only is it like a miracle food for people, but it's really good for your pets too.
Yeah,
It has
it's
a
got
lot.
tons of nutrients and it's
Yeah.
got tons of vitamin nutrients. The list just goes on and on. I couldn't believe
Mm-hmm.
how healthy moringa is for you.
Yeah, it's an antifungal, an antibiotic, an antimicrobial, and an what's it called?
Anti-inflammatory?
Anti-inflammatory, yeah. So, and it's got so much nutrients. It has protein, calcium, iron.
You know,
And then it has like.
the only side. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The only side effect I find on moringa myself is kind of like you kind of sweat a little bit. You ever notice that? When you take maybe a teaspoon, like
Oh, I
30
just
minutes
thought I
in, you
was.
kind of like break a sweat. You know, it's just kind of weird how I don't know, just turns up the body heat a little bit. It's weird. I noticed something like that, you know.
I
That's
can
just
see
Well,
that.
I already sweat a lot, so I just thought it was just I'm just like that.
Oh, well, pay attention. No,
but
pay attention every time you take it. You know, if all of
yeah,
a
I
sudden you're like,
will. I
oh,
will.
That is a very
it's
good point, and it's very important. Anytime you start taking anything, even if it's holistic or natural, you got to pay attention to what your body's telling you.
Right. I wonder what that means, though. I mean, if it maybe, I don't know, trying to push toxins out so you start sweating or something. I don't know. That's interesting.
That's what
I'm gonna have
Aisha
to
said.
well, you know what?
Aisha
Well,
has
that's how.
that.
Okay, my girlfriend wanted to say this, that when we were on it, that's how we believe that that's how we had our daughter. Somehow it just
Oh,
does something
Aw.
to the males, I guess. And
oh wow.
you know, we had Emma, and you know, like I said, do the research, and I found something on there, and I've been doing Ringa for a couple of months, but I mean, we've been together 10 years, and you know, you figure something would have happened by then, but
Oh wow. So it did something. It brought
so
something alive. Like maybe got
Right.
yeah,
healthy.
I don't know. Maybe I hate to talk about it. It's just kind of, I mean, you know how as you get older, you kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, what do they call
Right.
it?
It's a surprise. You guys
Males.
had a really good surprise with that little baby.
Oh, I know. It's like, wow, blessing in a way, you know.
Yeah, it
That's
is a blessing.
awesome.
I'm just like thinking about like you running around chasing after her. I couldn't do it right now. I'd be like, oh,
Oh
my
man.
knee.
Some
That's
days I
funny.
am like that. I'm like, oh, but she keeps me going. Otherwise,
And you know what? It makes me happy
probably I'd
because
be
I'm not
unhealthy.
the one with the youngest kid anymore. So now you're the one with the youngest kid because my kid's only 10 and everybody else's kids are already graduated.
I
Yeah. Well,
know.
mine's 14, but Noah's 20.
Wow.
So
I
how old's your
got
daughter?
some friends now that are grandparents. Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
How old is your daughter?
Oh, my daughter, she's 18 months.
Aw,
She's
that's
That
awesome.
is a very cute
18
age,
months.
dude.
Is her middle name
Yes.
Moringa? I'm just kidding.
No, no, it's Emma June. Emma June.
Oh God, that is such a
That's a
cute
pretty
name.
name. Yes, it
She
is.
is.
Yeah,
I love the
she's a
name
sweetheart.
Emma.
So I take Mullen for my asthma, and I barely have asthma anymore
Mullen?
because I think yeah, Mullen.
What is that?
Mullen.
Is
Oh,
that
Yeah,
a
how do you
grass
say
or
it?
like
Mullen?
a
It's like a
oh,
weed too. It's
is
everywhere.
it like does it grow real shallow on the ground? Is it the asthma weed? Because I found some of that in my park.
I
Because
think so.
I've been taking pictures of everything that I see at the park and stuff and looking it up to see what it is and what it does.
Yeah, when I went camping at White Horse Lake like last month, I saw it everywhere. So it's everywhere.
I bet
And
that's
yeah.
what it is because they call it the asthma something, the asthma
it
weed.
helps.
If,
It helps. I
if
feel
you
the
do,
difference. I definitely feel the difference.
if you do get it, pick the ones that are mature. After 2 years, they get the stem. On the first year, they won't get that stem, that big long
Uh-huh.
stem. They get it
Mhm.
on the second year.
Well, I
But
ordered it
I
from
mean,
Amazon.
oh, you order it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, but if you
it
could
grows here
grow
and
it,
drops off
I
everywhere,
know it's
man.
probably everywhere.
Matter of
right?
fact, over here in Flagstaff, where the old DMV used to be by the Burger
Yeah.
King, they
Uh-huh.
fenced off the property. But man, there's like 6 foot moringa plants in there. They're huge. I mean,
Wow,
there's
that's
so much
Really?
moringa. Yep, it's everywhere. Or not
That's
moringa. I meant mullein.
crazy.
Not moringa. Mullein. I'm talking about.
oh
Oh,
Millen. Yeah. I figured it's a Flagstaff thing because I saw it everywhere at camping.
Yeah, mullein.
huh. Yeah, I
So
was looking up like because my dog every time we go for a walk at the park, there's a specific spot where she always eats that grass. Um, and
dogs
I
know.
looked it up. They do, and it's an antiemetic, so or it's a one not an anti, but an emetic, so it helps them vomit in case if they have like some upset stomach. But it's
I heard
also
turmeric's good for them.
what is that?
I heard turmeric's good for your dogs, the joints and
Oh,
all
Oh
that.
that's
yeah,
good.
it is. It is very good for your
Yeah,
dogs.
turmeric.
Yep. Yeah, I was actually gonna make her some dog treats with some moringa and turmeric in it.
Ooh, that's
Uh,
cool, Jerry. You could sell those.
right? I know. Well, and it's crazy because it's weird how dogs are instinctive like that. They know, you know. and we should pay attention to things that animals do, because it's not the vet said let her eat it. She knows why she's trying to eat it. So I know that people look at me at the park all weird, like, why are you letting your dog eat the grass? But she knows why she
doesn't
eats
it. Don't they like it goes in their stomach and then they like cough up that phlegm or whatever, something like that?
Well, it does. It helps them if they have an upset stomach. It helps them throw it up. It helps make them throw up.
Yeah,
and they know that.
Throw it up. Yeah.
And then it's also like an anti-inflammatory. So if the dog has like, any kind of arthritis or a lot of dogs, especially certain breeds, like their knees and stuff like that get bad. So jumping up and down off of couches and stuff eventually starts to hurt them.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So, and I know that I was researching wild lettuce, and that's a natural painkiller.
It's called, I found out the name. The name is called purslane. Purslane.
Purslane?
Yeah, Purslane. That's the one I was talking about at the beginning of the show. It's as strong as morphine.
They call it opioid. I know how to make a good, how to extract that out of the plant too. There's many names that they call it. They call it opioid lettuce too as well. It's not opioid, but
right.
I find the best way to do it, because it's hard to handle and it's real prickly when it matures. Best way to do it is get some gloves, cut it up, get a crock pot, just chop it up, put it in the crock pot with water, and you want to put it on high, simmer for about maybe 3 days. And it's going to kind of turn black dark. You're going to strain it out, and then you're going to simmer down the water all the way down, and you're going to see it turn into almost like a gel, almost like a thick as syrup.
It's like a resin.
You put that out on, and you put it out on parchment paper. Just let it dry like that, and then it's like a fruit roll up. You just peel it back, then you can blend that up in the blender, and then put that in capsules. You can go on Amazon and buy one of those capsule trays, put the capsules in, and it makes it easy, so you can load like 50 capsules at a time.
That's what my dad does with the moringa powder.
So we have a comment here, you guys, and it says turmeric has to be combined with black pepper for your body to absorb it. That is very good to know. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. And so then, I guess I'm going to have to put black pepper in my juice when I juice then, because I always put turmeric in my juice.
Oh, good. My sister's taking turmeric for something and it lowered her blood pressure, or I don't know what it did. I don't think my sister's in here, but if she was, she would tell us. But she's not. Turmeric, and then what's this? What's borage starflower?
What are you talking about, borage starflower?
Yeah, do you know what that is? Borage.
Borage.
So I'm looking in the chat right now too, and everybody's talking about kratom. Kratom. What's that, guys?
Oh, kratom. Kratom. I've never experienced kratom myself. I've heard a lot of good things, bad things.
What is that for?
For pain mostly. I heard you get kind of wired on it too when you take it. You kind of feel.
I heard that tweakers use it to get
like
off
a boost. I don't know. Maybe it makes them comfortable. I never tried it. After hearing a lot about it, I just didn't want to try it.
Is that a weed or what is that?
I think it's a plant.
It's a plant. I'm not sure. I think there's 3 different species of that plant. Not too sure. Don't quote me on that. You could order that stuff online, pretty much. Yeah, you could order it right online. I believe so, but I'm not sure if it's illegal in Arizona. I think in some states it is illegal.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's so weird how there's some weeds and stuff that are you can't just pick them, and it's like that's dumb. And you know what I noticed? When you go into the garden section at Walmart and stuff like that, I was looking for some seed start or food or whatever that you can spray on seeds that you're trying to start. And there's so many killers, weed killer, bush killer, grass killer, lawn killer, everything killer. And there's like, they had all this stuff for like starting seeds that was running out, and it all had stickers that said do not re-inventory. So they're not going to be stocking it. But there's all kinds of stuff that can kill everything. But there's like nothing, and it's actually, it's hard to do. I was trying to research stuff, and when I was trying to look at certain weeds, all I could find was stuff about killing things. Poison. Not like
it's chemical poison.
Yeah.
Not organic.
Yeah, there.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, there's just, it's crazy how they push that. I think that they should teach growing, gardening. They should teach about plant medicine and all that in school, because that is something that would help everybody,
Well, that's what these farmers are finding trouble with now. I mean, their land is so parched now. It's just like the way that they have been grown in the East has been wrong for a long time, where they plow the land, they put chemical fertilizers in the soil, and they've killed the microbes off. And they've tried to, pass this ideology of, chemicals in the world, and now the farmers are dependent on it, and it kills the microbes in the soil. But if you feed the microbes, I mean, they do all the work for you. I've learned a lot about the microbes in the soil of growing organic, and it's too easy. You're not feeding the plant, you're feeding the soil. And then the soil, it's a lot different. It's easier, and you can keep reusing the soil over and over. That's the beauty of it. You don't have to throw it away, or you can recharge it, with some compost tea, and then just use your soil over.
Right.
I mean, that's what I do. I've come up with easier ways to grow, and now it's just kind of, how we say, I really don't have to put much thought into it. There's only so,
right.
The plant there's only so many nutrients the plant needs, and you just got to know the primary, secondary, and the micronutrients. But same with mycorrhizal fungi. You ever heard about mycorrhizal fungi in the soil?
No, what's that?
Well, there's this, if you ever get the chance, there's this video on, what is it, Netflix? I think it's called, what was that movie, Jess? I think it's that movie on Netflix, the fungi, remember, with Paul Stamets?
Oh, I think Shelly told me to watch that movie, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, that is what she was telling us. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
And they kind of explain to you how underneath the soil there's this mycelium, which is like fungi, and that's what produces mushrooms. Well, the mycelium is like a neural network from one tree to the next, like miles away, and they exchange nutrients. They found this scientist, I forgot her name. She got the government's backing to do an experiment in the forest, and she had these syringes that had radiation. She had to get government approval for this. So she grew these pine trees in the forest. I believe they were pine, but they were trees. And she put like a tent around them, and she injected that radiation so that the tree would absorb it. And what happened was that she went back, I think a few months, I'm not sure how long, but she took out the, what do you call that? The radiation what's it called? The Geiger or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she went around and every tree was just buzzing off with that radiation. And she proved that the trees share nutrients with each other under the ground via mycelium. They communicate, she was proving this stuff. And I mean, she kept walking on, the trees were just buzzing. I mean, trees for miles were sharing nutrients. They found in Alaska where this tree, what was it, 200 miles away from the water, from where the salmon had been known to be around, tested for salmon. They couldn't understand. They were like, how did a bear get the salmon and travel that far? There's no way. And that's where they found that the trees like share nutrients. Somehow the salmon had gone in the ground, decomposed, the microbes went up, ate it, took the nutrients and sent it off into the forest. And I'm like, dude, the forest, they take care of each other, the trees.
Yes,
it's been proven, even a lady She talked about this on TED Talk. I can't remember her name, but there's a video where this lady finally was able to talk about this, because she said for the past 30 years, no one would back her up because they thought her theory was crazy. Because as a scientist, when you come up with, how do you say it, out of the ordinary type research that's not in the curriculum, the dogma, nobody will back you up, because then they look bad, But then now, I mean, people are backing her up, and her theories have proven, right, that the forest is alive and they communicate. It's just amazing how we're barely starting to understand. Yeah, it's amazing, like, just how how the microbes. I mean, I got a microscope. I look at the microbes, and there's just so much to learn about them. It's just hard because it's a different world there. In that world, they all each have their purpose. You can't have one more than the other. It's almost like Serengeti, Africa. How you have all the animals together, not one animal outpopulates the other. There's this balance there, and that's how it is in the microbe world.
Right.
For instance, like nematodes. If you have nematodes, are good in the soil, but you don't want too many. You have too many, they'll eat your roots. You want them to eat the eggs. You want them to balance. You want them balanced out. But if certain flies or fungi flies lay their eggs, they'll eat the eggs, so you don't have bug problems. And then not only that, when your soil is really healthy, the bugs stay away. They don't go near your soil. When your soil is really healthy, they stay away. They only go towards plants that are sick. People don't realize that. Yeah,
I'm gonna remember that. That's wisdom.
They don't attack healthy plants.
Say that again.
Because healthy plants will send off a pheromone somehow, and the bugs just like boom, just go away. I mean, nature is just its own. Nature takes care of itself, kind of. If you take care of the soil, it'll do the rest.
And it's so important that people realize that, because it's not until people come in and like
fuck it up,
think that they
well, think about it. You ever seen where they build, like, let's say there's like new development and they just plow the land, or maybe leave a few trees here and there. They build homes. You ever notice how long it takes for the landscape to rebuild itself? It's because they kill the microbes. Once they plow the land, the dirt, the sun hits them, it exposes them, it kills them. They deplete the population of the microbes, and it takes years for that to go back. Once the trees grow, drop their leaves, and that's like nutrients down on the ground. They come up at night, grab that stuff, and take it back down as it decomposes, as the leaves decompose over time on top of each other. And then the microbial count population is back to normal. That's kind of like Sunnyside over here. If you ever notice, Sunnyside has just gone crazy in growth. I mean, the trees, the plants everywhere. I mean, it finally took years for this neighborhood's microbial count to, be back to normal. People not, and pesticides kill that stuff. It's horrible. If you use pesticides around your house, you're ruining it. Especially if you grow vegetables, that stuff still gets in your soil. I mean, that stuff is just dangerous. I mean, you've already seen the research on there. We don't have to get into that subject. It's already been out there.
Right. And you know what kills ants, if anybody ever has an ant problem? And I figured this out because the ant poison wasn't working. Cinnamon. I sprinkled cinnamon, and they were gone like fast and never came back. Like,
wow.
Never. Yeah. And it's held. I think, well, because I know that when my dad used to work for Wrigley, I know that cinnamon is potent. If it's like pure cinnamon extract, like the oil, that's like lethal. Like, you can't take a teaspoon of it. Also, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the fact that they crawl through it. Maybe they breathe it in, and I know that
choke.
Just kind of like overwhelming for the sensory or something like that.
Right. And I think that, and they all talk to each other, because you know how you see ants like in a little highway when they're all like following each other and stuff.
No, you're right.
Well,
because I mean, now that I have a baby, sometimes there's food on the ground, and I noticed that the ants have been coming in, but I've been trying to like kill them and pick up the food all the time. But I noticed they've been sneaky. They kind of like crawl on the side and they hide. So they've gotten a little smart, and they don't send out the whole colony. only set out
Right.
a couple of scalps, and so I realized just make sure I just clean up the food, make sure, because sometimes the baby drops food, here and there, and there's ants outside.
Well, and that's what I was like, I don't want my dog to like get those little poison things. And this was the poison that they're supposed to eat and then take back to the thing. But it wasn't working. It wasn't working. So
they're probably just eating it and living.
Oh,
right. The cinnamon had them gone. Like, it's that sticky syrup, it's like that.
Oh,
I
think it's borax.
Yeah, maybe that's what it's called.
Sodium borax or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And that didn't work. And I was like, okay, so the cinnamon worked excellent and it smelled good. And I know it's not like lethal, I didn't have to sprinkle like a ton of it either, just a little bit, like, and they were
Do
gone.
you guys know what this is? That I can't say any words.
Diatomaceous earth. Yes, I also have that. And that is very good for scorpions. Diatomaceous earth. It's basically like broken up little like rock. So it's.
Oh, is it?
I think it scratches up their bellies. I don't. Yeah.
It's kind of like, what is it, like imagine yourself walking on glass, basically, to a bug. It's like walking on glass.
And I think that somebody told me that people drink that for like some kind of a cure something, and I was like, "Are you sure about that?" Because
really?
it's like drinking
broken
glass.
It's like glass almost.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I heard that diatomaceous or whatever earth was like smashed up exoskeletons of bugs or something.
No, it's like raw.
I
think it's like.
Yeah, you should look at it like under the microscope. It looks like just imagine like broken window glass everywhere around you, just standing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I have some.
That's what I like.
I have a big old bag of it. Yeah.
So that's what it's like for a little bug. When a bug walks on that, they just like cut themselves up. It's like glass.
Right. I want to get a microscope so bad, and a telescope, but I want to get a microscope. Susie and I were tripping out just using the magnifying glass off of our phone.
There's like an app you can put on your phone, and it's a magnifying glass app. And I could go for hours just looking at shit on my phone.
I got something for that on my microscope where you put the phone on it, but it's kind of hard to look at it, And then too, I got to prepare the specimen. I got to like. It's not like you just throw something under the microscope and you just see it,
right.
Something physical. When you're looking at microbes, you gotta add a dye, kind of illuminate the background a little bit, because they're like they're kind of translucent. They're real clear. So if you add a little dye, you can kind of see them,
Right. So like because I noticed the park here where I'm at, I live in Levine, it's been flooding lately because of all the monsoon rain. And we have mushrooms that grow in the park. And I just kind of have been watching the life cycle of them just because it's interesting. And when they die, like when the spores, they turn like this dark brown color and the spores kind of go everywhere. So how does fungus, like how do you grow any kind of a fungus? Like how do they, because it's not like seeds, right? So it's spores, like just right? Really, yeah. And is it like
what spores are, imagine, okay, when a mushroom is starting to open up, they call it the veil. There's like this little clear white stuff, for instance, that type of species mushroom, and then it opens up, and then what it does is as soon as it opens up, it starts to drop. Imagine on like an umbrella that's opening up all the way around, and on the very tip all the way around the rim, imagine 1,000,000 cannons, like a cannon shoots at one of those balls like in the olden days Civil War. Imagine those all lined up around, and they just shoot them out, the spores. They're like small, like embryos, like small little eggs, and they shoot out very far and float in the air. But they shoot like tons of them out, millions of them out. There's a video, I can't remember. You should watch that video. You'll see it on there. I think they slowly zoom up. It's called Fungal something. Babe, what's the name of that video? Remember that one on Netflix, Fungal?
I'm gonna watch that.
Fantastic fungi. That's what it's called. Fantastic fungi. Once you watch that
Okay.
video, it'll give you a great understanding of how it all works, of how that mushroom, stuff works.
It kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, it freaks me out a little bit because I think about, well, what if we accidentally breathe in those spores? Are we
And
gonna
they
have
grow
like
in your,
mushrooms in us?
grow in your
Yeah,
tongue.
I did that once by accident. Matter of fact, I even, put a shout out to everybody out there, took one for the team. I breathed spores in, and all of a sudden I got pain in my left lung, and I thought I was having a heart attack.
Damn.
So I went to the
Oh,
hospital,
wow.
and they did X-rays, all that stuff, and then he told me things that could cause it. He said spores, fungal spores, and I was like, boom, the bell just went off in my head.
Yeah, that would be freaky.
Oh no.
Yeah, because
Right.
I let the veil drop, and you don't ever want your mushrooms to do that. Once they split, if they go past the veil, they'll drop their spores, and you don't want to breathe that stuff in. You wanna pick the mushrooms before they drop their veils, and or if you
Right.
got to wear a mask when you're walking in, if you're growing oysters, you don't want to breathe in the spores. I mean, it's bad for you. It's
Right.
just not bad for you. And so, anyways, I got pleurisy, is what he called it, pleurisy.
Dang.
Oh yeah. See, I worry about walking
Yeah.
my dog over in that part of the park because I don't want her to
Yeah,
breathe
but
in the
no,
spores.
no, you'd have to be like in an enclosed environment with a lot of mushrooms for that to happen. Not like
Oh,
out in nature. That wouldn't really do a lot in nature, And then not only that, they tend to drop their spores more at nighttime than they do. Like, well, not all, most species, like they drop them at night rather than, rather than during the day somehow.
right.
Just kind of
That's interesting.
different. Well, not all species, just different species, But
Right.
for the most part, I mean, yeah, you'll be fine. As long as you don't want him to eat ones, Don't let him eat the mushrooms. You don't know what
Oh
kind
yeah,
they are.
no,
There's
no.
there's
Right. Yeah, there's
many
a lot of
species
deadly
out there.
ones that look like the good ones.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that would suck. Unfortunately, I don't like mushrooms, and I wish I did because I know they're good for you.
They're supposed to be really good for you. Like, I don't like them either.
I know.
I think because of you. I think probably I don't.
Probably.
Well, depending on how you prepare them, they could be somewhat, delicacy. I remember when I went back to learn it back east, I got to learn how to make the jerky part, mushroom jerky, and I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
Did it taste good?
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it tastes pretty good. Mushroom jerky, it had a lot of pepper on it, teriyaki
What does
and pepper.
a mushroom taste like? Like if you could
like
compare it to something.
Mushroom, like a squeezy, squishy,
Well,
slimy.
There's different ones that taste different, like for instance, like they say, lion's mane tastes kind of like a seafood in a way,
Ooh.
It just.
I saw this one video of somebody.
I don't like them raw.
Ew.
You don't like them?
There's one that looks like chicken or tastes like chicken and looks like chicken strips.
Oh, you're talking about hen? They call it hen of the forest.
Probably, yeah.
I think they call it hen of the forest chicken. Yeah, it's like, it goes on the side of the tree and it's like orange, kind of like an orange pan.
Yeah, and then she took it into her kitchen and fried it up like chicken, like nuggies.
You know which one I like? The mushrooms that I think are coolest looking are those the ones that are like bright red on the top and then they have like a white stem and white polka dots.
Oh, like the Smurf houses?
Oh.
Yeah. Those are so cool. I'm like, that looks like a cartoon. I'm like, that's why
that mushroom right there's I think they call that one's the Amanita muscaria.
Okay,
or the fly agar mushroom. It's got a psychedelic. It's got what do you call it? Hallucinogenic properties in it, but I wouldn't take it. It's bad for your liver. Yeah, It's funny because that's like the widely. You always see that type of mushroom like everywhere. They always strongly emphasize that mushroom. Even in the schools, you ever see it in a book and you see that mushroom.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
got
didn't
a puzzle
realize
set here right for my daughter. And there's a mushroom right there in my daughter's puzzle set. I'm like, what? What are you trying to tell the children?
Right?
know?
They do that with peyote too, because I was like, I didn't realize that peyote looks the way it does, and I was like, hey, they sell those little fake ones at like at Five Below. What are they trying to? Yeah, subliminal messaging.
Yeah, like Coco. Yeah, Coco. I seen what Coco Melon the other day, and the one they were singing sing along or whatever. But the guy had a shirt, and there was a mushroom right on the pocket, and I'm like, no way. I go, I mean, what are they, like you said, what are they trying to say? You know,
Right. It's like
books
they
that they have the
know.
mushroom. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like the next thing that's gonna come, you know, because it's starting to get
It's going to, because
mushrooms
people
are
are going to
starting.
realize that
But
it
then
can help them.
Mm-hmm.
there's just so many different. Just like over there, is it Oregon or Colorado? They legalized the mushrooms.
I think Colorado, our
If
friend
they
is there.
legalized
And Washington State also.
on Oregon, and I think Oregon too.
Yeah.
So that means Arizona's next. They need to. You know why? I tell you what, man. I when you have your golden moment, they tell you, you know, that moment, no one can ever explain their experience in detail. You know, everybody has their own story. But overall, that experience of taking the mushroom is just magical where how it could just wipe out all your depression and everything in one session. You know what I mean? Rather than like take pills for the
Right.
rest of your life.
Yes.
Right.
I mean,
Pills that are very bad for you, that have very bad side effects, that,
yeah,
you know, they give people
yeah, it makes you like
antidepressants
zombies.
and it has a warning on there that it might make you suicidal. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Give me something that could make me suicidal because I'm depressed. Like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're
I
right.
would, it's,
Some
I
of
would
the,
much rather do anything natural than, you know, have to live.
Those chemicals we're talking, they've been killing us a long time, you guys.
Yes, they have.
oh, I know.
And they don't really work.
We are
You know,
at
it is.
the end of
It's a
that.
money market. If there's someone cures you, no one can make money off you no more, right?
Right.
Once you're
Exactly.
cured of
That's
everything,
exactly.
there's no more money to be made off you.
Which
And
is
that's just
why
how
they
we
don't
are, you
teach.
know.
They don't teach us gardening and how to grow our own food, because they don't want us to know how to grow our own food, because they want us to go to the grocery store and buy our food.
Which has the pesticides on it that they put there so that we could get cancer and so that they could give us chemotherapy and so that we could die and then they could make money.
Right. They create problems so that they can fix them.
You should Google American food products that have MSG and watch the list pop up.
Yeah.
MSG is not good for you. What it does is it gets in your brain and it kills the cell, kind of like dumbs you down, basically.
Oh shit! Really?
You know, MSG is
yeah,
not good.
that does not surprise me,
like
dude.
I say, don't take it from me. Do the research and you'll see it.
Right.
It's stunning. You know, to see.
You know,
this
Susie,
stuff.
I think that's what's wrong with everybody. They're eating MSG, because I've been telling you, I've had a common equation in issues lately where it's like people are being dumbed down.
It's a neurotoxin. Same with fluoride. Fluoride's a neurotoxin. It's. I mean, like I say, Google that. I mean, fluoride. Why would they put that in our toothpaste? I mean, really? I mean,
I know, right in our mouth.
That's poison. And then even the say, oh, it's only a little bit. Well, that's rationalizing. That stuff's like, if you read the research on that shit, is poison. It can't even get out of your body. Once it enters, it's like deposited in your bones in the long run, and it's like a neurotoxin. And I realize, I'm like, damn, do they just want everyone to like think at this level rather than this level? Because if you're at this level, they can control your mind and everything, right? But if you're this level, they got no control of you.
Yep.
So I don't know. Everything adds up, I guess, right? That's like water too. You got to pick your water. Like they put fluoride in water too. Not here in Flag, thank God. It hasn't passed. But how you say water? Fluoride's a neurotoxin, and they put it in the water supply. That's why they call it like water here is not filtered. That's why they call it treated. You know, it's treated. It's not run through filters and shoved in the pipe. There's chlorine and chloramine in it, you know. It's
and
not.
You know, like they put trisodium phosphate in a lot of things. That's like in Lucky Charms, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, what you know what else you can use it that it's good for?
No.
You can power through accumulated layers of dirt, grease, grime, soot, and stain. You can use it on masonry, wood, and roofing, and you can use it for prepping for a paint job to clean and degloss painted surfaces. They put that shit in our food, man.
In the cereal that we give to our kids.
Yeah. It's like that's not okay, man. Not okay. Not
Makes you
cool.
wonder why they do that.
They do it on purpose. It's to
Well,
mind
think about it. I
control
thought
and to
about
make
it.
us sick.
Well, that too, and I always thought, I'm like, the rich and powerful always have private chefs to cook for them, like
Yes, they
natural
do.
food.
Amen.
Why everybody else eats the shit at the store, huh?
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
Right.
it's becoming obvious why they're doing it. Like they
Yeah.
are just, you know. But
they
you know what? It's
best of
not
the
going to be
best.
that way much longer, you guys.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like Hugh Hefner. I mean, not to talk about people, but I remember Hugh Hefner wouldn't eat a chip out of a bag that was, he had to have a triangle Dorito. He would not eat like a broken Dorito. He had to pick the good ones out. Like, he had to have a perfect square. I remember hearing an interview when one of the kitchen help said that. Yeah, crazy,
how
huh?
funny.
What
It's
happens
crazy,
when you get
you
rich?
know. Yeah, well, there was a girl on the radio today, and she was talking about, and this is kind of gross, but I think it's a valid point, and I never thought about things like this before, but she was talking about how her butt had been getting bigger, and she was having trouble like wiping her butt very well because her butt was bigger, and so she was like, so I know that people like Cardi B that have not only do they have really big butts, but they have long fingernails. She's like, there's no way they're wiping their own butt. There's no way because you literally can't. And I was like, you know what? I bet she's right, dude. Somebody's wiping their butts.
I think so.
Really?
Oh, man.
Somebody is wiping their butts. They all have bidets.
Yeah, but or shower, huh?
Then, right.
Shower.
But even then, you still have to have, a bidet can't get everything like off. They have to have people wiping their butt. Like, ew. It's so weird to me. And those people probably are like, oh, but it's okay because it's Kim Kardashian. And I'm like, no, that's still gross, dude. Ew.
It is still gross. Because her fingernails are dirty if she's wiping her own ass for sure.
Oh, I know, right? And she's like
big
scratching
old cross-on nails.
Yeah.
I always wondered, how do women get around with those big ass nails like that? I mean,
it's hard. That's why I don't wear them. One time I put them on really long like that, and it's true, you can't really wipe your ass that good, so I don't wear them that long anymore.
Yeah. Remember that lady that had the world's longest nails? She just cut them off. And in my mind,
and they were
when I saw that,
all around.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the first thing that came to my mind was like, how does she wipe her ass? You know, I mean, someone has to do it. Man, long
it's
nails
not
like that.
sanitary to have your nails that long, I'm sure.
And you know what? It's the saddest thing is like you're doing that and putting somebody else through that just so you can have a big butt and take pictures of it.
That's
like that's not cool, man. Not cool.
Funny.
Yeah.
This world's crazy, huh?
Yeah, it is
so
a crazy world.
Crazy. It is so crazy, and it's frustrating because I want, I'm excited to learn how to grow stuff so I can pass that info on to my kids because they don't teach stuff like that in school. And just from the time that we were in school, the amount that they actually teach kids about anything that actually matters is gone down so much. It's insane. At least we had to take like home ec and we had to take shop and but they don't teach our kids how to do anything. Nothing. Like nothing.
Nothing.
No,
dude.
It's sad. And
it's really bad. They don't teach them the same way that we were taught. It's so different. I homeschooled my son for 2 years, and that's how I learned what they weren't doing, once I got a hold of him. So and not only that, but the lesson.
Tell him the lesson plan, what it said about how the pilgrims.
Like let me tell you this one. This is the one that was a shocker. Thanksgiving Thanksgiving, in the lesson they were teaching him, they said that the Pilgrims taught the Indians how to plant, and that the Pilgrims like
that was the other way around.
Right, and
Right.
like the Indians were starting wars and
I
stuff.
remember.
I was just disgusted. I almost called the school. I was like, "This is complete bullshit." It was horrible.
Yeah, remember the Mayflower? I remember the Mayflower. What do you call that native tribe? They say. Remember the Mayflower when it came over? Almost half their people died. They were about ready to resort to cannibalism until the Native Americans stepped in and helped them, because they didn't know how to grow on the land. I mean, near the ocean, it was a different way of growing.
They taught them how to grow. They taught them how to hunt better. They were peaceful to them. They like were good. And the Pilgrims started wars and religions and all this other shit. But how could they teach the kids the other way around? There
were, man, I just went down this rabbit hole recently and I found out more stuff. You ever heard of Tartaria?
Yes.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
We had a civilization. We had a civilization that they cut out of history, and they did a damn good job of hiding it. And the evidence is starting to come out, and it's like really starting to raise eyebrows, like, And what it was is that we had these big, giant, huge buildings, bricks. I mean, they were like buildings that last almost 1,000 years old, and they were all over the world. It almost looked like Rome. And this was only like not too long ago, like a few 300 years ago.
Yeah.
But they destroyed them all after the World Trade Fair back then. If you you could Google this shit too. Back then, there was the World Trade Fair all over the world, and it was all about creating a new world. They got rid of that. Matter of fact, I joined a group that's private archives. I'm not supposed to share pictures and stuff, but I see the pictures that we share, and man, it just like we have free electricity already. Tesla was just trying to keep that going. We had free electricity. There's pictures of it. It's just amazing. Like, and they hid it. They destroyed all these buildings. I mean, Poland had a lot. It makes you wonder why World War II, they destroyed all those buildings over there. You ever notice that they were in Poland when there was a lot of rubble, the building sidewalls were standing up still?
Yeah.
They were kind of cracked, but they were still standing up. Those buildings were built heavy duty. That was part of Tartaria. I mean, some of these old buildings. And there's just so much they hid. You ever heard of the mud flood?
Yeah.
There's buildings now that they're finding here in America and all over the world where they dig below the building almost 30 meters, and they're finding more building under the ground. Like they just built on top of the building. It's weird that the evidence is there, how there's windows under the ground in these buildings, and something happened. There was like mud everywhere. It was in San Francisco. It was, there's picture, there's evidence there, and they hid history. And the crazy part is if you look at some of these buildings, they had big doors, like doors where the handles are like way up. You got to really reach high to open the damn door. And I'm like, why in the hell would someone put the handle all the way up there? And then I got more pictures from the private archive, and I was shocked at what I saw. Where we had freaking giants, man, back then, living amongst us a few hundred years ago. Big ass giants that were like freaking 12 feet tall. And there's even a video. The greatest one is there's this video where it's the French, because I noticed that helmet. There's this French soldier on a horse, and the guy that's marching behind is this big old Japanese guy. He's huge. I mean, he's at least 3 times taller than that guy. And there's more footage where he's like lying down eating, and I mean, his head is just huge. And you see, there was these twin brothers in England that were, I mean, they were so tall that one of them put his arm over and his hand would go over the bus. Remember, the buses were like 2 stories tall. They hid so much from us. I mean, but the real question is why?
So much.
Why? Why did they do that? Why did they cut them out of history? Was it because of the religion that we have?
I know why.
Yeah, I think
why cut them out of history?
I think that it's all done because people don't want us to realize how special we are, and how much power that we have. They have, I think that a lot of our history is like, for example, you know, the way that they teach or don't teach us or teach us whatever about citizenship and why wars are fought. You know, how come all these countries are fighting and dropping bombs on each other in their countries, but they all agree not to go to Antarctica? Huh. That's weird.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I heard about that too.
I've read the treaty. Like the Antarctic Treaty is real, and it is.
Yeah.
It's.
As a matter of fact, there was a guy that was rich. He tried to go there, and they arrested him, didn't they? No one's allowed to go over there.
Yeah, there's fishermen that have been met by warships. That you're not allowed to go below the 60-degree. Yeah. And that's weird. Why, if there's nothing there, why can't we go there? You know, and how can you, right? And how come you can fight over land and resources with another country there, but you're not fighting about Antarctica, where there could be more land and more resources? Don't make sense.
Oh, no. Sounds fishy to me.
Right. Things that make you go,
Everybody's just fighting right now. It's not just like over there in Ukraine. I mean, there's other wars going on right now in other countries.
Right. And it's just bad, Russia and Ukraine are both part of this treaty, and they both have nobody has violated this. It's the only treaty ever in history that's not been violated. And it can't even be questioned at all until 2041, where they'll probably, I don't know, extend it or something.
Well, probably by then, because they'll be completely exposed. That's why they picked that date. You know,
right? There's just so much they hide from us. I mean, shit, it makes you wonder if your vote even counts, huh?
Right, it makes you wonder.
Well, really that's all. Yeah. I don't think it does count really, but that's my opinion.
Ooh, he would be good to come in here. Ben just walked in. He would be good for this conversation.
Donald,
I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. We are all spiritual beings living a human experience, and we just so happen to be more powerful and amazing, probably the most amazing being in the whole universe. And the other beings, they're great beings too, but there are some that want to take us down, and they want to keep us down, but it's not happening. It's not happening anymore, because we were fighting this like spiritual warfare, and we're winning, and we won, I believe. So
everything's being exposed nowadays. Think about it.
Yep.
I wouldn't laugh. I don't laugh at any theory. Right. And I don't laugh at any theory. I don't discount any theory. And you know why? Because we don't know shit. Because we're not allowed to even try to find out. We're not allowed to find out stuff. That we all were born. We all came into this world through a vagina. Right? It doesn't matter what country you're born. We were all born, and we're all living, breathing people. So we have rights that we all have, not because a government gives us those rights, not because of what country we're in, not because of what religion we have or what profession we all came into the world the same, and we should all be allowed to know where we live and about our past and about the things that made us who we are right now. And we don't, especially Americans. Americans literally don't know anything. And you know why? Because that's exactly the way that they wanted it. They did that shit on purpose. The Rockefeller Foundation came in and they bought all the most of the publishing companies that make the textbooks, so they could take out what they wanted to take out and put in what they wanted to put in. We all know Christopher Columbus didn't discover America, but yet they still teach that in school. How are we doing that? How are we knowing that they're teaching our children incorrect stuff? And that's just one of the many, many things. And they don't want us to know. Why do you think they write the law the way that they do? A lot of people, I go and I look at the legislation that they're passing just because I want to see what's actually in there, because they're really good at slipping some shit in there that they never talk about on the news. But the other thing that they do is they use legalese, right? So like things that are in legalese, legal terms, don't mean the same thing that everybody who common people think they mean. So like when a cop tells you after they say something to you, do you understand? We would think they're saying, do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
That is not what in legalese, do you understand means, do you acknowledge that you stand under me? I am over you.
Whoa.
Do you understand? So you want to say, no, I do not understand. You are not over me. I have rights. So you don't want to agree to understand. Yes, I understand. Because then you're telling them, yes, I realize that I'm under you. You have authority over me. So legalese is really tricky, and they put all of this law, which are actually statutes, not laws. There's a difference. They put all of this in language that most of us don't understand. We don't, because we aren't taught that for a reason. They don't want us to think. They don't want us to have our own ideas. They don't want us to get together and talk about it. That's why, in school, they teach you, don't talk to your neighbor. Don't, you guys know, working together. They want them all, separate.
Keep us separated.
Right. They find every way they can.
Divide and conquer and divide.
And they've been doing it for a really long time.
Yep. And getting away with it, and laughing at anybody or any theory, to me, is ignorant, and we shouldn't do that, because none of us really know. We don't know. There's a lot of things that we literally don't know, that we all defend as truth, and it's like we don't
it's
really
horrible
know
things.
Well, it's the conditioning that they do. For instance, like military soldier. Isn't it funny how nowadays, like, a soldier is like decorative? It was, well, maybe a few before the COVID or before the wars and all that, or not. How would you say it? Back during Iraq, the first and second war, a soldier was kind of decorative. Like. Remember how people would say thanks for serving, or they had the ribbons, we support you. Remember that? They spread that, we support. Well, it's funny because back in Vietnam, when those guys came back, everybody hated them, remember?
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to hire him. So that some of them got depressed, went to drinking. A lot of them were homeless nowadays. And then if you look at today, when they try to decorate the soldier like it's a good thing, like, what? You're a killer? What's great about being a fucking killer? You know what I mean?
And going to another land. I mean, there's a lot.
Like we support that shit. I mean, that's stupid, man. I mean, we shouldn't even be meddling in other people's shit. You know what I mean?
No, and we shouldn't have to have borders. Borders are inhumane. Why do I get to live somewhere and somebody else, just because they came into a different vagina on a different location, doesn't have rights?
We're the only species that has to pay to live here. You ever notice that?
Right. Yeah. And we not only do that, we have to pay to die. We have to pay to be born.
Yeah,
we have to
pay for everything to do too.
Oh shit!
Right.
I've been getting these letters lately from the mortuary. I go, did they know something I don't know? Am I gonna die?
Right.
Like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, shit, dude. Was flooding my mail with that shit. You know what I mean? Trying to be prepared for my death, man. Fuck.
And then what about, like, so our Social Security, the trust is going to be dry in 2037. So I know I've been paying Social Security since I was 14.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to see any of it, but they're still going to take it out of my paycheck. Now, isn't that stealing?
Yeah.
But we have to be okay with that.
Well, they just wouldn't Biden just hire 170 some thousand IRS agents or something like that? Did you hear?
Yeah, 87,000. Yes,
And then
I
check this
heard.
out. They're not going to go after the rich people. Let me tell you why.
Oh, I
Rich
know.
people they hire the best CPA professionals to handle their shit, so they don't worry about it because they're hiring professional people because they have money to pay for that. So who are they going to go after? They're going to go
They're
after
going
people
after
that
us.
have used Zelle,
Right.
PayPal, the small business type people. They're going to
Not
go
just
after,
that, but they're telling them, hey, we're going to give you guys a tax credit if you make your house more energy efficient, but you have to pay for it up front. But then we're going to give you a tax credit or whatever. No, they're not. They're going to audit your ass. So don't go get solar panels unless you can literally just don't do that. It's not a good deal. That's a lie for anybody who's thinking about getting panels, unless you can pay for them outright. And you have the money to do that. And you also have the money to pay for a battery wall that's going to hold like the charge. Don't even bother, because it doesn't increase the value of your house. You're not going to get the money back on your taxes. It's a bunch of bullshit. It actually decreases and lessens the likelihood that you're going to get as much for your house, because it knocks a lot of prospective buyers out of the equation, because they also have to qualify to take over your lease.
Oh, shit.
Your solar panel lease, which is usually 25 years long. And usually it increases every year that you pay it, with it being the most expensive in that last 25th year. So don't buy into and then, all this stuff, that anything that you see on the news that they keep talking about, like, it's weird how all the news stations talk about the same thing. Oh, look at these pictures of Jupiter. Yeah, no, it's not real.
No.
It's not real. Yeah. Don't just
do you believe, are you flatter? Are you a flat earther?
I am a scientist at heart. Like, I love science. Astronomy was one of my favorite subjects. I know a lot about space, except for I don't know that I know that it's real, because I've always had questions.
The only reason why, no, me too. The only reason why we believe somewhat that the world is round is because they taught us it in school. Remember the little globe and all that, and they're spinning it, looking around. But then throughout time, I've seen them make the continents bigger than the other ones, change it all the time. And I'm like, how in the hell is that possible? Where I've seen pictures of NASA taking pictures of Earth, and I'm like, why can't they take a picture with a moon in the view? You'll never see the moon in the view, of the Earth. And then sometimes you'll see some of the clouds that look the same as other clouds, and I'm like, what the hell, Or how would you say?
Well, if we're spinning through our space, then how come we can see the same stars if we go out year after year after year on the same day? We see the same exact stars in the sky. How is that? That's not possible if you're spinning through space.
Yeah, and then not only that, what is it? If you look, what was it? I seen them do a test, and it just didn't make sense. They were looking from Seattle. They were using a scope. They were seeing further than a mile, and normally you're supposed to have an 8-inch drop curvature if the world's round.
Right, and we should only be able to see 3 miles. Is only as far as we should be able to see.
And then even too, the guy who invented the what do you call it? The thing in the plane to tell the altitude. He said he never built it to compensate for the curvature of the Earth.
All
and then
pilots are taught to fly as if the Earth is flat. That's a fact, and everybody don't believe me. Look it up.
And then too, what was it? They came out with a law way back then of the railroad that when they engineered the railroad, that it was supposed to remain straight, no curvature. I remember seeing a paper on that, and I'm just like, holy shit! They made it like a law with the entire railroad in the United States.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
Donald, I don't
sometimes
know what it is, if there's a dome or not. All I do believe that the earth isn't what they say it is. And
dude,
in regards to
you know,
space, I
I
know
want
that
to
there's
believe
no
it is.
pictures of the earth like
I want
from
to believe it's
space.
round.
I don't
Right.
know
Well,
anymore.
and
Like,
so I was always really confused because like I said, I've always loved astronomy. Like I've always like looked at the ISS live feed for a long time, and I had a question like before I ever even heard of flat Earth. And by the way, I heard of flat Earth, and I thought it was so stupid. I thought it was so stupid, and then, but I'm smart enough to realize that there's so many things and questions I've always had that don't make sense if the Earth is a globe, but make perfect sense if it's not. So, like, how come on the ISS, I tried to figure out for a long time why you can't see like there's no stars in the background; it's just black, right? And I tried to look it up, and there aren't. But then you got some astronauts that have been on the space station, and there's video of them saying, "Oh no, you can see the stars," and then there's other ones that say you can't see the stars. So which is it, and how are you having an argument about that? That is probably something, if you've actually been on the space station, that you should be able to answer that question. Another weird thing I thought was weird was when Obama was talking about the space program, and they were all talking about being able to get further than low Earth orbit. And I was like, wait a minute, haven't we already done that? Like, I thought we already did that. I thought we already did that.
Or how about this? Isn't space supposed to be like so cold in the Kelvin range of cold, which is like the next level of like really
it's a
cold.
Vacuum. Right.
And we know that heat, we know that fire, thrust, doesn't it need heat and oxygen to create thrust? I mean, how do they go in outer space when it's that freaking cold? I mean, and then too, it's radioactive out there. It's so radioactive out there. I mean, do those suits really block that much radiation? I mean, you've been to the dentist, right? They put this big old lead shit on you, this lead pad, and they take an X-ray of your teeth. But shit, I've heard that space is like, it's just high radioactive. You would just get sick.
Well, and like Elon Musk, his Tesla that is supposedly orbiting Mars, and it's a vacuum in space. How did the tires not pop or the windshield not just shatter? How is it still in the same like regular car, and if it's orbiting, and how, like, on the space station, the astronauts, how are they floating all like soft and floaty when the ISS is traveling like 27,000 kilometers per hour? It says when you go to the NASA website and look up, it says that it orbits the Earth like 16 times a day. How in the hell are they just floating in there if they're really going that fast? There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. And when there is no zero G, there's a parabola. There's like, you can go up, like, the zero, you can do those 0G flights, so they call it 0G, but it's really not. You're just kind of free falling for a few seconds because they go up so high and they do a parabola and come down. But that's not the same thing as 0G. That's just called free falling.
Oh, I've seen that where they go up so high and you're like, it's almost like you're like you're weightless, I believe.
Right, exactly. And like the pictures of Earth, all of the pictures of Earth, NASA has admitted that those are actually just artist renderings. They're not actual photos. And they say, people wonder, well, how come we couldn't leave something on the moon that can take a picture of the Earth so we can see the Earth from the moon? Why is there not that? But there's something on Mars that we can see pictures of Mars.
Well, did you ever hear Buzz Armstrong talk about the moon? You got to hear some of his speeches, man.
I have. I heard him tell a little girl that they didn't go to the moon. Did you see that?
Yeah, and then Yeah, yeah. And then they talked about where when they did a science experience to see the density of the moon, they slammed it and it rung like a bell, they said. When it hit,
Right.
the moon. It's like a bell. And I was like, damn, that means that sucker's hollow. It's like the freaking Star Wars Death Star,
Right.
I mean,
If
just
we
and
could
then too,
actually
what else when Armstrong when they first landed on the moon, did you hear that one recording too? What was his
about the
name?
aliens,
The one that
there they
the one
saw
that got out, he
something.
goes, yeah, he goes like this, quote unquote. He says we land. He goes, they're looking at us. They know we're here. Said something kind of like
Right.
in those words or something. And I was like, who's they? Who the hell is? They know we're here. I mean,
I think that they never even went to the moon, and that's why Buzz Aldrin, the reason they call him Buzz is he became an alcoholic. I think that they feel bad and sad about the fact that they had to lie. Oh, wait a minute. What do you say, Susie?
Sorry. Well, I'm having a little problem over here.
Why?